as free. You want it?
Yeah!
It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies.
Of course not!
Link, you're a little piece of poop.
Greetings and happy belated April Fool's Day. So basically, if you couldn't tell by the YTP intro, number one, I certainly don't have enough rubies to buy a PS3 because all I had was a cheeseburger flash drive, literally. I didn't have any, even fake gems in the house, so that was the best I could do for a ruby. And I also didn't have any Link or Morshoe clothing, so yeah, had to make the best with what I had, and my company uniform, of course, but hey, it looks good on the company. Anyways, welcome to another video. Now, for today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, a laptop which may look similar to one you've already seen, except this one is a little bit different. Now, this is similar to a laptop that I always wanted back in 2006 when it was new, but this is, it's basically the exact same laptop, actually. It's just a smaller screen size. Some of you might remember that I did a video once called Intel Core Duo versus Core Solo, and that video featured the Dell Inspiron E1405, which I got for free from a neighbor when I was still living at home. But this laptop is basically just that, but with a 14-inch screen instead of a 15-inch. This is the Dell Inspiron E1405. Same processor, Core Duo. I believe it's a T2300. Windows XP, Vista capable, pretty much, it's basically the exact same thing. If you've seen the E1505 or E1705, then you've seen the E1405. It's basically exactly the same thing. Now, what makes this video different, you may ask? Because, Ben, why are you doing yet another video on one of these? Why the hell, do I want to watch you just spin up another, put another SSD in this thing and then install Windows on it from a DVD? Well, the first part, you are correct. I am going to be putting an SSD in it and also possibly doing a RAM upgrade. I bought this off eBay, by the way, for like $15. But there is more to the equation. You see, kids, in recent days, I learned the power, which is actually a superpower that I actually tried to acquire when I was probably in elementary, middle school or something like that. And I always wanted to, I'll tell you a funny story before I go on here. I always wanted to be like the OEMs. In other words, deploy Windows like the OEMs did. Dell, HP, Lenovo, etc. Right? Make it so that, because I was building computers for clients at that time, and I wanted to have I was trying to learn how to use the Windows AIK, Automated Installation Kit. I believe they called it, the ADK, Automated Deployment Kit, or something like that back then. Microsoft changes the name all the time, but this was back when Windows Vista and Windows 7 were current. And I remember I had to create a Microsoft developer account, and yes, at 12 or 13, I was approved, even though, and I faked my date of birth, but shh, don't tell Bill, don't get me banned, please don't, I swear, I will, no, I'm kidding. Point being, anyways, but long story short, so, I created a Microsoft developer account and became a, whatever the bronze partnership they had was back then. It was, they've changed it so many times I don't even remember. Point being, I did that. I put my date of birth in 1955 or something like that and they never knew I was a kid. And they were inviting me to all these conferences, and it's like, I hope they don't find out I'm like a 13-year-old kid at the time, because yeah, that was actually I was actually kind of worried about that. They'd find out I was a minor and be like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, you faked your date of birth," or something like that. But anyways, point being, yeah, so I did that, and I always wanted to learn how to deploy Windows. What I'm getting at, long story short, is I've discovered the power of WDS, Windows Deployment Services. I did upgrade my servers recently, over there. I upgraded my primary DC and also my file server, my SMB server, so now they have a whopping 16 gigs of RAM. The primary DC got an upgrade from a Pentium, the crappy Pentium. It was a G6405T, I believe, was the original CPU, running at 3.5 gigahertz. And then I went up to a faster CPU, same core and thread count, just a and also same amount of L2 cache, just it's a Pentium G6505, which runs at a faster clock speed and draws a little bit more power. And I just noticed there's a spot on the lens. So let me get my microfiber cloth here. I don't have any lens paper, unfortunately, so I have to make do with what I have, but let's see if I can get that a little bit there. There we go. That's a million times better. Alright, yep, cleaning the lens, well, not properly, but you get what I mean. Microfiber is the best I've got. I actually don't have any lens paper, so I had to make do. But anyways, I should probably get some lens paper, actually. Point being, yeah, so I found out how to I found out how to spin up WDS. I did have a spare Windows 2K16 license, so I thought, what the hell, let me spin up a WDS server. And now I've got the ultimate WDS server, and you'll see when we get to deploying Windows on this thing. Anyways, let's take a look at the laptop as is, shall we? So, as always, let me give you the grand tour. So on the front here, let me just zoom in. I also am striving to do better camera work in my newer videos and taking a little bit more pride in my work. Because I will admit, I have been slacking a little bit in terms of my the quality of my work. Now, also because you will also see that this is one of those Dell Media Direct laptops, and I believe I've made a video on this before. I do still have, so the only thing actually, and actually this will be a bit of an interesting experiment now that I think about it. You know why? Because for those who don't know, Dell Media Direct, or at least the early versions of it, well, let me just explain what it was first. Well, let's do the tour first. God, you can tell I have a rambling mind, can you not? Anyways, buttons first. Mute, volume down, volume up, play, pause, rewind, fast forward, stop, and Media Direct. We'll get back to that in just a moment. Pretty standard trackpad here with scroll bars on both sides, left and right click buttons, separate buttons as they should be. Anyways, QWERTY keyboard here. Just pan the camera up a little bit. We've got power, indicator lights here for numlock, caps lock, scroll lock, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth with the old Wi-Fi logo. Inspiron E1405 logo here. And also over here, indicator lights for power, hard drive activity, and battery. Nice glossy 14-inch display there, no webcam. This is not a Sony Vaio picture book from back in the day. Although actually for a future November episode, I am planning to get a picture book. I also have a Sony Vaio P-series laptop that I still have yet to make a video on. But I did actually try to make a video of me upgrading it, swapping it up to an SSD, and well, that didn't go as planned. Even though I didn't kill the laptop, thankfully. Sorry about that. I had to take a quick call for work. Yes, I am recording on company time, but shh, don't tell my boss. I'm kidding. My boss doesn't care. He's a really chill guy. Anyways, point being, yeah, it's pretty slow this afternoon, and I'm also on lunch too. So, anyways, point being, yeah. So, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So, and now I forgot again. Okay, well, let me just get on with the ports, and then it'll probably come back to me. Yeah, fingerprint magnet, glossy screen. Got that signature Dell silver lid. This unfortunately does not have the changeable lid colors like some of the other laptops did from earlier. Anyways, don't you love post-nasal drip? Always gets in the damn way. Anyways, so on this side we got a DVD drive, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 56K modem, you don't see this anymore, 10100 Ethernet, VGA without the screws, naughty naughty Dell. Anyways, 2 more USB ports around the back, DC input jack here, exhaust fan here, and then exhaust grill rather here, Kensington lock, S-Video actually, which you certainly don't see on laptops these days, IEEE 1394 Firewire 800 here, TRS jacks for microphone in and headphone in here, SD card slot with the slot blank too. Very nice that they left that. And then this may look like a PCMCIA card, but this is actually an Express card slot, so which was a major upgrade from PCMCIA. Bonus points to anyone who knows what PCMCIA stood for. Personal Computer Memory Card International Association, if you want to know the answer, and pass your A+ exam. Anyways, alright, let's take a look at the bottom. Now, one thing that's interesting about this laptop is that it does not have a Windows Certificate of Authenticity, I'm sure it did at one point in time, but I think what happened was someone actually did a thorough job of removing it with, sticker remover or something. I guess they really didn't want me to get the Windows, probably either a Windows XP or Vista product key. Probably XP, because this being from 06, Windows Vista came out in late 06. So it probably had an XP media, either Media Center or Home Edition key, possibly Professional, but unfortunately, well, I guess I could look the service tag up to see, but I'm not even sure Dell still has this in their system, considering that they've pruned a lot of their older systems from their website, their support site rather. Anyways, on the bottom here, this door I believe is for the Wi-Fi card, or actually I believe it's yeah. This is the RAM door. I'm sorry. So one RAM slot is under here because this is marked M for memory. This is marked C, which I believe is for card, i.e. wireless. Possibly the modem goes in there too, actually, because this does have a 56K modem. This actually, you know what? This might be the modem cover here. I haven't actually taken this apart, so I don't really remember because it's been ages since I've opened these laptops up. But this is definitely the extended RAM here. This is definitely where the hard drive goes, and this is probably for the Wi-Fi card. So then this must be for the modem. Just putting two and two together, that can help, right? Got the battery here, which has a huge crack in it. I'll go ahead and pull it out. This is the original battery pack. It does show signs of life. This is a rechargeable lithium-ion, to be expected for the time. It is it's an 85 watt-hour battery, so this was the extended battery that Dell made for this laptop, although there's a huge crack. I don't know how well that shows up in the camera, but if you can see, there's a huge crack there. And, I mean, this battery, there isn't even a COA under the battery either, so I guess someone just was anti-Windows, or maybe did Hackintosh, who knows? Back when Hackintosh, Apple, I think, no, that was jailbreaking, sorry, that was jailbreaking that Apple claimed was illegal back in the early, what was it, like the mid to late 2000s, I think, is when, I mean, I had an iPod, I didn't have an iPod Touch till 2010, that was the 4th gen, the one with the camera that everyone went ape crap over. Yeah, I mean, I remember, my first iPod was an iPod Nano from 2005, actually, I got it in 06, though, and back then I had my Dell Dimension 4600C. Good times. Anyways, so, giving you the grand tour of the laptop. Let's go ahead and power it up. It does actually, I want to see how long that battery lasts because I did see that I did hit the battery and it indicator. Wow, and that screen is dim AF. Let me hit F2 for setup here. I can't even see if it says entering setup. Okay, well, I'm trying to hit F2. But it's one of those things that, it's one of those, of course it doesn't post so well anymore. As well as it used to. Let me see if I can. That is as bright as this display will go. Holy mackerel. I may have to get a new backlight for this thing while I'm at it, or new inverter. Or new LCD screen altogether. Zoom in. I mean, you can kind of see the image. Yeah, that is way too dark. Yeah, that is way too dark. That is way too dark. And I don't think I can make the screen. No, I cannot turn that brightness up anymore. Alright, well, I'm going to have to close the window blinds, so give me a sec here. Note to self, record this video on a crappy rainy day, because, geez, is that LCD backlight dim? I mean, maybe if I plug, I mean, well, it was brighter when I plugged it in, so, you know what, let me see if I can plug this thing in, because I really don't want to have the blinds closed on a nice day like today. Hold on one sec. Alright, sorry about that, guys. See, like I told you, I've still got work coming in, so... But this actually wasn't anything important, so let me see if I can get at least one of the blinds open. Yeah, one set of blinds open should does the trick. Yeah, the problem is this LCD, the backlight's so dim when this thing's on battery power, but at least I know the battery, well, kind of works. Anyways, go ahead and get zoomed in here, and we'll take a gander at what we've got here. So, we got the service tag there, or actually no, yeah, there's the service tag. Interestingly enough, there's no asset or owner tag, but I don't remember if Dell inputted those. I just don't remember. We got a Core Duo 1.6 gigahertz with Jesus Christ, 2 megabyte cache. There we go. Jeez, can't even. And it's true dual core. I believe the 1.6 gigahertz CPU was the T2300. I believe maybe it was the T2400. I can't remember. I know it's definitely a T series. The nice thing about this is one thing I love about these Yona series laptops, which is the code name for the Core Duo and Core Solo, the original Core processors that Intel released in Q1 of 06, is they use socket T CPUs. The socket that they plug into is called socket T. And the nice thing about socket T is that you can turn a 32-bit machine, because the original Core Duo and Core Solo actually are two of my favorite processors in Intel history. But what's funny is that you can actually turn a 32-bit machine into a 64-bit machine. Because, yep, these socket T systems can actually accept Core 2 processors, so you can drop either a Core 2 Duo or Core 2 Solo in and make this a 64-bit machine. And these were the days when there was a little thing called FRUs, or field replaceable units. So unlike most laptops, especially these days, the CPU in these are actually socketed, so you can actually upgrade that Core Duo to a Core 2 Duo and get 64-bit capabilities. And plus, Core 2 is a lot better. Although I actually like to keep things original. I like the Core Duo. I mean, I know it's 32-bit, but you know what? Core Duo for the win, man. Anyways, let's look at the RAM. Oh wow, 1 measly gigabyte of RAM. Well, that is definitely getting upgraded. Let's see, is it? Oh yeah, it's dual channel RAM. Yep. So of course, looks like the other RAM stick is actually you have to remove the keyboard. But it's actually the good thing is these laptops are actually some of the easiest Dell laptops to disassemble, and we will be doing that on camera before we we'll pop the SSD. Well, you know, I definitely want to get that RAM upgraded first. I need to dig through my pile to see if I have any extra DDR2 RAM. But I would like to get this to at least 2, well, at least I'll see if I can dig up a 2 gig module. I don't even know if these things support 4 gigs being from 06. I highly doubt it. I mean, even though it's DDR2, yeah, I would say this thing's probably, I would have to look it up though. I would have to see what the max RAM is. My guess is probably 2 gigs, so I may have to dig up a couple 1 gig sticks, you know, and just put one in slot A and one in slot B, but we'll see. Anyways, we'll do that on camera too. So we got our CD-DVD combo drive, 90-watt AC adapter. As expected, 945 GM graphics, which was probably the most common onboard Intel video chip back then, with 8 megabytes of VRAM. You know, I got a funny story to tell not about when I was first learning about video cards and drivers and, you know, video card memory. Yeah, I remember once on my Dell Dimension 4600C with its onboard Intel Springdale video, which was Pentium 4's onboard video, Northwood Pentium 4 that is. It's funny because I tried to install one of my favorite games of the time, which was Ultimate Ride Disney's Coaster, and it told me I couldn't install it because I didn't have an 8 megabyte video card. It really wasn't because of that, it's because the video drivers weren't installed and I was just using the Microsoft Basic driver. But yeah, under Windows XP of course, because everyone used XP in 2004. But anyways, yeah, and that's when I asked Mr. Payne, my computer teacher at my Jewish day school, about video drivers, and that's when he told me the wonders of the Dell Resource CD. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, and I don't have the Resource CD, by the way, for this laptop. Although I'm pretty sure you could find it on archive.org if you know where to look. Anyways, 14.1-inch XGA display. Native res is 1440 by 980. Sigma-Tel 9200 audio. Geez, where have I seen that before? Dell loved those AC97 and Sigma-Tel audio were like Dell's favorite audio controllers back in the day. Connexent modem, again, not surprised being Dell. Dell wireless, oh boy. This is not equipped with Bluetooth though. So maybe I'll see if I can find a Bluetooth module for this laptop. Not that I'll use it, but hey, why not, right? Battery health, interestingly enough, the battery discharged quite rapidly because, yeah, I don't think I think this battery may be on its way out. There is a battery health section. It says 83%. Let's see what it reports. This battery is performing normally. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the BIOS reports the battery is healthy. I mean, obviously we'll put that to the test, obviously. And of course, aftermarket batteries for these are very, very common. So, you know, you can order a new battery online by visiting Dell.com. Remember when they used to have to put www for World Wide Web in front of the URL? Good times. And if you really want to go back, you had to put the http:// You can see that in an episode of The Simpsons from '96, actually. I think it was the one where they moved to that really like ritzy town, and their school actually has the http:// but that's because, you know, that was in 1996, and in the days of Netscape and dial-up, that's what you had to do. You kids today, anyways, are so damn lucky. Anyways, date and time's obviously wrong, to be expected, because CMOS battery is hopelessly dead in this thing. I believe the CMOS batteries in these are actually standard CoinCell CR2032 batteries. So if that is the case for this laptop, if it's not a proprietary one, I might see if I can drop it. I have a whole surplus of CR2032s, including CR2032s for GameCubes, so you know what? Why the hell not? Boot sequence, pretty obvious. I know I'm going through all this. This is going to be a rather long video because I know you guys like my longer videos, so Got Pixie booting enabled. That's going to be important later on, obviously, because of, well, anyone who knows WDS knows why. Internal modem, yeah, let's just leave that enabled because that's nostalgia right there. For video, brightness, interestingly enough, the factory default setting is 3. I guess I can't change it with the keyboard hotkeys in the BIOS. I guess I do actually have to be in Windows to do that, or in an OS to do that. We'll get that done though. Oh, that's brightness on battery power. Oh, well then this one's AC power. Panel expansion. Yeah, remember LCD panel expansion? Thankfully, no passwords have been set. Not that it really matters on a system like this, because these systems are so old that you can simply clear the CMOS password by just popping the CMOS battery out, and if the CMOS battery is dead, well, your password isn't going to do you much good. Although I did have a Dell XPS M1210 once, where I did have to reset a motherboard password, which are stored on the motherboard, but thankfully, with the help of, I forget the website name, it was actually right before I met Grace, believe it or not, it was like right the day before our first date. Yeah, I found a handy website that actually gave me the master unlock codes that Dell put on them, and the first one I tried worked, so yeah, it was real easy to crack out, system passwords back then. Anyways, wireless hotkey change is denied, which apparently, according to this, is the default. Oh, there is no admin password. CPU execute disable bit support. Yep, you want to run Windows 8 or Windows 10, make sure this is on. CompuTrace, oh god. As if I didn't see that enough back in the day. We got multi-core support on. The nice thing about your boss interrupting your video is that it made me talk so much that my throat went bone dry, so I had to get myself a drink of grape juice. I was going to say a drink of water, but that's normally what I would get, but I ran out of bottled water, so grape juice will have to do until I can get to the grocery store. Anyways, so I can get to ShopRite or Wegmans. Anyways, point being, alright, so where were we? Oh yes, HDD acoustic mode on bypass. Well, this really isn't going to matter because SSDs, literally, there's no need for this with an SSD because there's no moving parts. Intel SpeedStep. I was wondering if this would come up. Yeah. Oh boy. Yep. Intel SpeedStep technology. Throttling the CPU. Oh god, it's enabled. Well, I mean, with a Core Duo, you know what? I may shut that off because I'm planning to install Windows 7 on here, so I'd like to see how Windows 7 behaves with SpeedStep enabled and disabled, because I never really played around with that too much as a kid. I think SpeedStep was introduced with the Pentium 3, if I'm not mistaken. So that's actually something I'll have to delve deeper into when I get power management, and of course then the cat. Press to hide the fields in this group. Well, we don't want to do that. Auto power on, oh boy, yeah, this is basic stuff. USB wake support, SATA DIPM. Device initiated power management feature is enabled on the internal SATA. The internal hard disk may initiate power management transition requests. Probably won't need that with an SSD, that's for sure. Maintenance, of course, defaults. There's the service tag if you want to look this up on Dell's website, if Dell still has it in their system. I doubt they do. Oh yeah, this is a feature I do miss about good old Dell BIOSes. Is you can disable all the frickin' annoying warnings. Well, at least most of them, at least. You don't want to see adapter warnings? No problem, just turn them off, right? Bluetooth, well, there is no Bluetooth module, so I'm actually going to disable that. Wi-Fi is enabled, and wireless hotkey is for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which I'm going to change to just Wi-Fi, because again, there is no Bluetooth in here. So let's exit and save changes to CMOS. Not that it'll matter because the CMOS battery in this thing is dead as a doornail. But that is the grand tour of the BIOS. So now, I'm going to check my spare parts bin and we'll see if we can get some upgrades in this bad boy. I've already got the SSD picked out, but let me go to my parts bin and see if I got some extra RAM for this thing. Well, I was digging through my little RAM bucket here. And I actually found a couple parts. First I found this CPU that I've got. This is a Core 2 Duo T9400 CPU. And I did look this up on Dell's website to see if this would work in this model. Unfortunately, according to Dell, the highest Core 2 chip supported in the E1405 is a T7600 Core 2 Duo, clocked at 2.33 gigahertz frontside bus. Of 667 megahertz and 4 megabyte of cache. So that is the fastest CPU the system will support. It's actually, and I was mistaken, it's not a socket T, it was a socket M system. So I was a bit mistaken. The good news is, though, I did find some RAM for this thing. I found two crucial DDR2 SODIMMs. So they're both 1 gigabyte each, so that'll bring the total to 1 gigabyte. And you know what the worst part is? I actually completely neglected to look up the max RAM. So you know what? Let's look that up now. Max RAM, probably 2 gigs, right? Actually, no, it is 4 gigs. Wow, for 2006, I'm surprised. Huh. Although, interestingly enough, a forum post from 2012 says the max is 2 gigabytes, but it looks like unofficially this system supports up to 4 gigs, and that's kind of expected for 2006. Because 2 gigabytes was a common max, especially for laptops. 2 gigs was a common max for like these early Core 2 systems. That was a common max RAM, motherboard max RAM for that PCs of this era. So you know what? Let's go ahead and just pop the crucial RAM in there, pop the 2 gigs in there, and get this show on the road. Oh, and also the SSD. So here we go. Remember when laptops were easy to disassemble and only used mostly Phillips head screws? Well, except for HP and Compaq. Although even HP and Compaq used Torx, but they also had flathead bits too. So not only could you could also use a flathead if you didn't happen to have a Torx bit on you. So first of all, let's see what's in there currently. So I'm going to take the RAM door off first here. I wonder if these are captive screws. I think Dell usually did use captive screws on these. Yes, they did. Okay, at least on the RAM cover they did. Pull out the existing memory module here, and let's see what we got. Good old Hynix Korean RAM. Yep, 512 megs. PC2, 4200 RAM. Pretty typical, though. Although, nope, that's DIMM-B. That is only one slot. One thing I do like better about the E1405 and 1705 is that both RAM slots are accessible via the bottom access door, whereas on the E1405, you do have to take the keyboard out. Go ahead and pull the hard drive cover out. And look at that! The seller left the hard drive caddy in! Wow, actually, now that is a surprise. Because, you know, I know the Flying Scotsman has said this a lot in his early video, or even modern videos too. But thank you. I forgot your name on eBay, but I wanted to extend my deepest gratitude to you for leaving the hard drive caddy in. Thank you, sir or ma'am, because you know why? I have seen so many frickin' laptop sellers. I can't tell you how many laptop sellers I've seen that don't include the freaking caddy. So thank you for doing that, because that's a real help. Now I can properly secure my SSD in the laptop. So that's a real blessing that he did that. He or she, rather. Alright, so let me go ahead and get my spudger, because I forgot. On these Dell laptops, I'm so used to having to take screws out on the bottom, we have to pop up the keyboard bezel, or the top bezel. So what we're going to do is I'll use my little metal spudger here, just gently pry into this. I have to put the LCD back just a little bit. Just gently pry. Now I got to be careful here, because these clips, as we all know, the plastic here becomes pretty brittle as time goes on. And the problem is it's how tight these clips can be. So the problem is I don't want to break the clips, but I still have to get this bezel off regardless. So let me see if I can put the screen back just a little. There we go. Let's see if that helps out a little bit. It's very difficult to do without breaking the clips. I'm actually not sure if there's any. I don't think there's any screws that hold these down. Normally there are not. This is usually not screwed in, but it's not coming up. Let's see. There might be screws on this one. It's weird because like some of them, especially like the old Toshiba laptops that had these kinds of bezels, they did not use screws. I just don't remember if Dell did that on these or not. But you know what? I do see some screws under the battery bay here. This one's marked K for keyboard. Oh, you know what? No, I was mistaken. Yep, Dell did put screws. See, because on some of the later models, they didn't do that, actually. They didn't screw that bezel in. So, yeah, I guess I do have to remove these 2 screws. And yes, if you couldn't tell, I am doing this somewhat blind, you know, because I don't actually have the the service manual for this thing, and it's really not worth my while to look it up, you know. I mean, I realize that, yes, the CompTIA A+ test administrators would kill me for this, and want to put my head on a pole for that, but you know what? I can't even think of a good comeback. I'm so involved in my work, aren't I? I'm sort of on a time crunch here, because I gotta be in Oakhurst to check out a server at 2 o'clock. And it is currently 1:20, so yes, I can read an analog clock. You kids today. Actually, that is true. It is kind of pathetic that kids today can't read analog clocks. All right. All right. Okay, well, I'm starting to get a little bit more from the front here. I know sometimes they put screws in the back. Let me see. I'm just going to try to run my fingers and just try to carefully pull this up. Okay, the hinge covers are not coming. Let's see why that is. And I don't see any screws back here. I know on the E1505 there are some screws on the back, but on the E14, oh, there we go. Just need a little extra, to put a little elbow grease into it, as some people would say. All right, I'm just trying to do this without breaking the damn clips, because I already snapped one off. Damn it! I try not to do that, but you know the problem is this. The plastics are just so damn brittle these days. You know, I tell you. Interestingly enough, the keyboard is actually screwed in from the bottom and not screwed in from the top. The keyboard's just sitting here loosely. That's interesting. Normally the keyboards are, there's these two screw holes here, but on this model it looks like the keyboard is screwed in from the bottom. Because on the E1505 it's from the top. And would you look at that? There is a socketed CR2032 battery in there. Holy mackerel. Thank you, Dell. You see why I say these are you see why I love laptops from this generation, guys? You see? They're so easily upgradable. I mean, like literally. Look at the I barely had to put any effort into this, and I have access to the CMOS battery. I can upgrade the RAM. I mean, it's just so much easier. So you know what? Make laptops great again. You know, and I'm no Trumper. I hate the man vehemently, but. Seriously, if Trump does want to make something great again, and not that he will, because he's well, you know, I won't get too political, but long story short, make laptops great again. Make laptops easy to upgrade again. Alright, let me see if I have a spare CR2032 battery. I think I do somewhere, but I just am not sure where I put the damn thing, so give me a second, I'll see if I can swap that out with something better. Well, I couldn't find any standard CR2032s, but thankfully the GameCube, I had a whole surplus of GameCube fitted CR2032s. Now, it is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt to remove some of these, I think this is like glued on. It feels like it's glued on. And I am no solder expert, and I certainly don't want to screw up these batteries, but I'm going to see if I can pull these. Oh yeah, these leads can easily come off, and I can just take the outer rubber coating off too and turn this into a standard CR2032. Pull that off, yeah. This won't even be touching the motherboard. This will be a little bit rested against the plastic of the case, or the metal plastic. Wow, the metal shielding is what I meant to say. So the EMI shield. So stick that over just like that. Keep that CR2032 in place there. All right. So that's one stick of RAM in. The CMOS battery replaced. I will eventually be swapping the Core Duo for a Core 2 in this thing, but. Let's just make sure that, oh yeah, that still sits flush. Let me just make sure that's not going to short anything out, though. Nope, doesn't rest on any circuitry, so nope, that won't short anything out, which is good. I was wondering if I would need to have like electrical tape or Kapton tape, which Kapton tape I am, as my cousin Janie and I used to say, move fresh out of. Yes, we actually did used to say that as if we were cows. We're move fresh out of something. Please don't even get me started with that. And Grace, if you're watching, yes, we used to say that, and I never told you about it. So, yeah, have fun when I come to Lancaster on Saturday, as of the time of this recording. Anyways, turn this back over. Okay, I heard something rattling in there. I was like, oh, not on my watch. Like Chip Skylark, not on my watch. Yeah. Viacom, please don't take this video down for that, and don't file a content ID claim for that, because that would be just stupoid. Screws back in. Ooh, I'm Viacom. Fair use, not for me. I'm just gonna eat me a big old bag of copyright strike. It's actually funny because back when in 2016, when I first graduated high school, I remember the Emperor Lemon, yeah, rip, I know, but he uploaded the Drake and Josh YTP collab. And I remember when it got taken down, was it like a year or 2 years later, by yours truly. Anyone in the YTP community knows who I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, they literally, someone in the comments posted that exactly what I just said. I'm Viacom, because Drake's like, ooh, I'm Drake, nutrition not for me. I'm just gonna eat me a big old bag of cheese balls. And yeah, and then someone in the comments, some smart aleck in the comments was like, ooh, I'm Viacom, fair use, not for me, I'm just going to eat me a big old bag of copyright strike. Now, unfortunately, they did not give me the screws for the hard drive caddy, but that's actually okay. I mean, I'm not as concerned about that. While it would be nice to screw the drive in, the caddy alone is enough to satisfy me. So, got our SSD here. Actually, it goes the other way. I am also stupid. There we go. You know, actually, I just said the screws were probably not going to be a problem, but they may be a problem because I do need a way to secure this in. I need at least one screw to screw this in. Yeah. Let me see if I've got any spare screws. I doubt that I have any that'll fit. Yeah, I just got a bunch of shekel coins in here and Canadian coins too. I do have a wireless card in here too, a half mini card. Yeah, I think it's going to have to sit loosely in there until I can find some screws to hold it in, but at least I do have the caddy, so there's at least that. Now there are also two screws that go here. Yeah, I mean that's actually not as bad as I thought. You know, yeah, you know what? As long as the drive sits in there and it's fairly flush. Because I could just pull this. Yeah, the problem is that I won't. Okay, so yeah, without the screws, I'm gonna have to put the drive in first, and then just put the caddy over it. But at least it looks like it's secure, but it's not. So yeah, I know it looks poorly on my craftsmanship, but we all have to. Uh-oh, I screw up. Can you give me one more run? For those who don't know, plumbers do wear ties. So I'm just gonna cinch that up a little bit. Oh. See, kids, this is why you need the screws. There's just no way around it, is there? There probably is, actually. There's no way out of here. There we go. No, never mind. It's still not... Well, actually, it's lined up on that end, but now it's not on this end. Frick. There we go. All right, I just got to make sure. The problem is I feel it popping out of the... This is literally why, kids, this is literally why the struggles I go through on a daily basis. Criminy went to China. Okay, yeah, that's not, yeah. See, that's the problem. Curse you, Dell! Alright, well, I'm gonna have to go find some screws. I'll be right back again! And of course, right when I say that not having the brackets hard drive caddy screws wasn't gonna be a problem, I had to open my freaking trap. Yep, because guess what? It is a problem. I mean, you see, this is why they have that t-shirt that says, no problem, problem. Because now, I mean, I'm going to have to literally futz with this to get this in right without the damn screws. Like, because this is one bad thing about me having OCD. Well, actually, it's a good thing about having OCD, actually, because, you see, kids, and boys, girls, men, women, whatever, I take pride in my work, so I'm not just going to let the hard drive or the SSD just sit loosely like that. Like, it's like, this is like a challenge to me. It's like, you trick me, you give me the caddy but no screws, and by golly, I'm gonna find a way to make that SSD fit in there without the caddy screws. But this is turning out to be the biggest Megillah ever. And I could put this thing. No, I can't put it upside down. I just gotta put it like this. I'm always. Oh my God! All right. See, the problem is I can't get my finger under there and support the drive as I slide it in. I have to put, see, that's the problem. They literally designed this, it's like AVGN. Like, they designed this part of the stage to be a trap. Because I literally cannot put this drive in without the damn caddy screws. I mean, I could just I can, technically, but if I want to put it in properly, I need the caddy screws. Like, so, you know what? So I was just about to say, as Danoact1 once said, I was just about to say thank you, seller, but now no, go to hell. I don't appreciate that. Oh, actually, you know what? I finally, right when I damn the seller to hell, then the drive goes in. So maybe I should start doing that more often. I mean, even though Jews don't believe in hell, we believe in She'ul. L'Isol She'ul. Or L'Lechet She'ul, if you're going on foot. Teach you guys a little Hebrew there. All right. Lay screws back in. We'll fire lay laptop up, and then I need to go. Lay me needs to go because for now, and we will do the second part of the video. Well, I will film the second part of the video. What is this, like 2009 YouTube, where there's a 10-minute time limit? Yeah. So then I'll film the next part when I come back. God willing, if I come back. But anyways, I will. Plug this thing in, and I swear, and if it doesn't work, I'm gonna cry. Well, I don't see any, but that may be because the battery's fully charged. Oh, you better work. You son of a gun. You better work. Okay, thank God. See, I was just waiting for it to throw some stupid ass error or stupid ass beep code about, you know, the RAM or some crap like that. But there we go. So time and date not set. That's expected because we just replaced the CMOS battery. So, all right. Hopefully that's a brand new battery. Yes. All right. So Core Duo is the same, but there we go. 2 gigs of RAM. There we go. Perfect. Cool. So we got 120. Yep, and there we go. 120 gig. It says 120 gig HDD, but it's actually a 128 gig SSD. But the good news is the BIOS now detects the hard drive or the SSD. So we are ready to rock. Actually, this SSD, I think it actually has Chrome OS Flex installed on it, but obviously this being a 32-bit system, that won't boot because there is no 32-bit version of Chrome OS Flex. So I am going to have to reformat this drive and install Windows on it. Now, I'm contemplating whether I should put Windows Vista. Well, I am going to have to put Dell Media Direct on here. You know what? We've got some extra time. Let me go fish out my Dell Media Direct CD. You know what? We can at least get part of the video. You know, we can at least get part of the excitement done on before I have to go. So as a bonus, let's install Dell Media Direct. I mean, why not? First, I got to find my disk though that I burned from good old archive.org. Going through the CDs. Okay, so I got my totally legit Dell Media Direct 3.3. And actually I was going to say we probably don't even need to test the optical drive, but actually we do because guess what? Yeah. If we want Dell Media Direct to work, we do need to have the Dell Media Direct 3.3 CD in there. DVD rather. Oh, one more thing I was going to mention. So let me explain Dell Media Direct. So first of all, let's get out of setup here. We should actually probably set the correct date and time now that we actually have a working CMOS battery. Probably should do that. It is no longer April. Well, it is April, but it is not April 2nd of 2007. April 8th of 25. Current time is this? Oh, it does have AM, PM. So it is currently we'll say 1:40 for now in the afternoon. So we'll do that and exit and oops, exit. Okay, yep, so obviously it can't boot because this is a 64-bit system and it can't boot on a 32-bit CPU, which is to be expected, like I just said. So we're going to reboot, Control-Alt-Delete, and hopefully this is a single-layer DVD, so hopefully it will be able to read this disk because I can't tell you the horrors I went through as a kid. Oh, there we go, okay. I can't tell you the horrors I went through as a kid with the single dual-layer DVD dilemma. Okay. So this is a typical Dell Media Direct 3 reinstallation CD, and yes, this is totally legit. So this is what you get when you first boot off a Media Direct installation CD. We can either allocate all available space to the C partition, we can even specify the size of the C partition, remaining space will be the D partition, or quit. It says, note that options 1 and 2 will allocate utility and Media Direct 3 partitions. So usually we're going to do 1. And it's going to warn us that it's going to destroy all the data, not that we care because it's Chrome OS Flex, so we're going to hit Y to continue. Again, not that it matters because we can't even boot Chrome OS Flex on this system. And there we go. Insert your OS reinstallation CD DVD. Note, install your OS to the C partition. So basically what this just did, just to give you guys a quick little rundown, is it created a partition on the hard drive, which is to be used solely for good old Dell Media Direct. However, we will not be inserting our Dell Media Direct installation DVD. Instead, I'm going to plug in the Ethernet cable, and we're going to strike a key, and it's going to restart command version 1. Wow. Anyways, we're going to restart, but instead of booting from a CD or DVD, we are going to go ahead and do a Pixie boot, and we will boot off my WDS server. And one funny thing I can tell you about Windows Vista, if we actually want to do Vista, is, yeah, Microsoft never changed the boot.wim file for Windows Vista to say Vista. It actually says Windows Longhorn. Isn't that funny? You know what? We could do Windows Vista. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to do Vista, and I'll tell you why. Because this laptop is more era appropriate for Windows Vista. And you know what? I'm pretty sure you guys want to see what Windows Longhorn's boot.wim file looks like. So you know what? I'll give you guys a special treat today. We'll go ahead and install Windows Vista with Service Pack 1. Actually, you know what? Let's shake things up a bit. Let's shake things up a bit too. Well, first, so as you can see, we got the Vista bootloader. And yes, I did test this in Hyper-V. But here we go. Installing Windows Vista over the network. Yes, using good old-fashioned WDS, Windows Deployment Services. Service-wise, whatever you want to say. I don't really care. All right. And let's just pray for no network outages because, yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I can see activity light on the optical drive. Yeah. All right. There we go. WDS. So English United States is fine for now. We actually have mouse input, unlike in Hyper-V. I'll go ahead and authenticate against Active Directory. Okay. We are now authenticated against Active Directory. And you know what I'm going to do, actually? We're going to shake things up because, as you notice here, since my fiancée, Grace, and I are moving to Israel at the end of the year, I uploaded some Hebrew copies of Windows Vista to practice my Hebrew to my WDS server. So what I'm going to do is I actually have a license for Vista Ultimate in בעברית. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to install Windows Vista Ultimate in Hebrew on this computer. And yes, this can be done using WDS. The beauty of WDS. So we're going to install this on partition 2, which, as you can see, partition 3 is the media direct partition. We are going to hit next. And now we wait for the server. Actually, yeah. That and also wait for, and there we go. Just like that, we are now installing Windows over the network using Windows Deployment Services. Hebrew copy of Vista. Yep. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it works. This is the beauty of Windows Deployment Services. Now, while we're doing this, I wanted to mention something funny I noticed about WDS and in my trials of playing with WDS. I noticed that if you wanted, that Windows 10's boot.wim file can deploy Windows 7, 8, 8.1, 10, and even Windows 11, but it cannot deploy Vista. If you try to deploy Vista using Windows 10's boot.wim file, sorry, I just needed a drink of grape juice there, it will result in a file copy error. So you do actually have to use the Windows Vista boot.wim file to deploy Vista on a modern WDS server over the network. Just for the record, my WDS server is actually a Hyper-V VM on my primary DC running Windows Server 2K16. I had a couple 2K16 keys left that I wasn't using, so I thought, what the hell. Anyways, the other reason I want to do a Hebrew copy of Vista is because the Hebrew copies I have uploaded to my WDS server contain Service Pack 2, whereas the English copies only contain Service Pack 1. For some reason, it did not like the WIM files on the, it opened the WIM file correctly, the install.wim file correctly, but then when I tried to import the additions from the Service Pack 2 ISO, it failed. The import failed, and it just wouldn't have it. And I tried like 3 different ISOs, that had Service Pack 2 slipstreamed, and for whatever reason, Windows Server 2016 WDS just did not like them. But if anybody has an ISO that you've tested and works on Windows 2016 or 19 or even 22 that works with Vista Service Pack 2, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. Because yeah, if I could slipstream a Service Pack 2 Vista ISO to my WDS server, that would be fantastique, as the French say. Actually, Grace and I are taking a trip to France in a couple weeks as of the time of this recording. So, yeah, so basically this will be commence fast forwarding here. But yeah, you guys get to enjoy the installation, as Joel would say, as Vinesauce Joel would say, of Windows Vista, a Hebrew copy, being deployed over the network. No more CDs, DVDs for me. Yeah. All right, commence fast forwarding. installing updates. Can't live with them, can't live without them. There we go. And just like that, Windows needs to restart to continue. We will go ahead. Fun fact, I always used to think I had bad luck when I hit the Restart Now button. So actually, I just let it time out and reboot by itself. But there you go. We just deployed the image via the network. So now, we'll go ahead and let the system reboot, and it will continue with the rest of Windows setup, which is going to be done locally from the hard drive. This is a big departure from how Windows XP and Windows 2000 were deployed, because I remember back in those days, I never really played with RIS. One day I will. But yeah, to deploy Windows 2000 or Windows XP, possibly NT40 over the network, you did actually have to set up, you had to use Microsoft's old tool called RIS, or Remote Installation Services. But WDS was a blessing when it came out, because holy mackerel, it just made the WIM image, the WIM image format, and Windows Deployment Services. Oh man, did it make it so much easier to deploy Windows over the network. It made it a hell of a lot easier. And I know you can see me pacing around, because you know what? Part of my, I guess you could say, not really anxiety, OCD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it. I have a lot of disorders, okay? Let's just put it that way. Point being, it's funny because, oh, look at that, it's in Hebrew. See, I told you could deploy Hebrew Windows over the network. Yeah, so as you can see, the text is in Hebrew. Let me try to read it. It says, and please excuse my broken Hebrew, but let's see. No hamachan bizman she Windows mamshich lahagid, I think that is, I think that's a dalet, et hamachshev shelha. Please wait while Windows continues to set up your PC to your computer. So yeah, that's how. So I believe it or not, even though I can't read the Hebrew exactly verbatim, and the text was a little blurry too, but I did understand what Windows is telling me. And no, I am not remembering that based on the Windows or the English, what it says when I deploy Vista in English. That I actually do know what those words mean in Hebrew. So my Hebrew has really come a long way. And actually, part of the reason I wanted to deploy Hebrew Windows Vista was because I actually, on June 30th of this year, the current date at the time of this recording is April the 8th. And by the way, guess what else today is? April 8th. Today is the 11th anniversary of Windows XP's end of life. Yep, because it has been exactly, as of on the date of this recording, it has been exactly 11 years since Windows XP exited Microsoft Extended Support. However, it was not dead, ladies and gentlemen, because you kiddos out there who may not have been around back then, may not remember the WePost patches, aka the Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009 patch. Yep, and that got Windows XP, what was it, like 5 extra years of support. Boy, were we clever back then. It was actually quite a simple mod. You just had to you had to add info to the registry to trick Windows Update, which was completely different in Windows XP, by the way. It was not the same WSUS client that Vista and later used. But yeah, literally, you could trick XP into thinking it, or trick Windows Update into thinking it was POS ready, and you could get extended updates for XP until April of 2K19. So it was quite fascinating. And hell, you could hold out on XP longer than you could on Vista. Vista went out of support in 2K17 officially, but there was no trick you could do with Vista. Some people were able to get some Windows 7 updates to install on Vista, but Vista and 7, despite being pretty similar under the hood, most of the Windows 7 updates just did not work on Vista. So, unfortunately, yeah, Vista was sort of left in the dust. And as I've explained in other videos, I defend Vista. Yeah, RTM was a glitchy mess. But once Service Pack 1 came out, Vista really wasn't that bad. And Service Pack 2 only improved upon it. So, oh, well that's not good. Video glitches much. Okay. Alright, you gave me a heart attack there for a second. Okay, I was loading the video. I was going to say, Vista usually does have the video driver for the Intel GMA 945. You gave me a heart attack there, Vista, right when I was trying to praise you. Please don't do that. All right, now let's watch Ben. I wish I had the time. I know I have to get going pretty soon. But I am going to see how much I can set this up in Hebrew. I won't have time. I mean, if I read this to you guys, we'll be here all day. But we'll set it to Israel, Ivrit, Yisrael, Artzot Habrit for the keyboard layout. We'll click Haba. Product key. I knew this was going to come up. Okay. Now, here's something funny, though. Because, obviously, I'm going to type the product key in on camera. But this, let me just grab my Vista product key here. So I do have a product key for Ultimate. It's right here. But Ben, that's an English product key. That's not going to work on a Hebrew copy, right? Watch and learn. HaChaverim sheli or HaMishpacha sheli. Boi lirot. Actually, admittedly, I have not tried this on Windows Vista, but I'm assuming it does work on Windows 7. But if it tells me this key's invalid, I'm going to be so angry. And yes, this is an anytime upgrade key, but with Windows Vista, anytime upgrade keys were just standard Windows license codes. They were not, or license keys. They were not specific upgrade keys like they had for Windows 7. So this is going to be trial and error, but let's see. And this is activate Windows when I'm online. Let's see if it accepts that key. I doubt it, but you know what? I know enough about Vista, so let's try it. And yes, I know it's incorrect. Yep. The product ID you entered is not valid, is what it was saying. Yep. Ding. So, setup will not continue without a valid product key. Yep, so we are going to have to... So, I guess with Vista, they are specific. Dang, that sucks, man. I do have another product key, but... Oh, well, you know what else I just realized? The keyboard layout is set to Hebrew, because it's typing Hebrew characters. So, you know what it probably was? I made... yeah, because here it's set to Hebrew. Let me switch it to English. Enter a password. Yep, so I guess for some reason the product keys are specific for language packs on Vista. That's weird because on Windows 7 they're not. So, Now that's a bummer. So I guess maybe I can't activate this with English product key. That sucks. That really sucks. I'll leave it on Jerusalem time now. We'll do Toda. That really does suck though, man, because I know that Vista product key, I wonder why that is. You know, maybe I could try to activate this using the command line, using System License Manager. I do also have a Vista Ultimate product key that is an OEM key. I mean, this is an anytime upgrade key for but you know what? Let me see something here. I want to see something. I want to see if I can use an OEM key for this. Let's see. Oh yeah, and also one thing I forgot to mention, you can't see because it's zoomed in. I'll just cut to this part. Yeah, because Hebrew is read from right to left, everything is reversed. Like you can see it normally in English Vista, the progress bar goes from left to right, but because this is Hebrew, and Hebrew is a right to left language, yep, the progress bar goes from right to left. So I could try to read the Hebrew as the slides as they go along here, but honestly, yeah, you know what? It will take me I'm not going to be able to read them in time. Like, Sviva betucho yoter. See, like, it meant to stay safer is what that was saying, and I can read it and understand, but it just takes me longer because Hebrew's not my native language. So you could see, but this is going to be a fun adventure, though. Meanwhile, I'm on my phone looking to see if I can find that other Vista Ultimate key, which I can't seem to frickin' find. I don't even remember when I took the picture of it, but I know I had another product key on my phone somewhere. It was an OEM key. You know, I'm actually not even sure because I think the reason it may be telling me that that key is not valid is because I think the image I downloaded from archive.org for Vista, I know the service pack doesn't matter, with Service Pack 2 at least, but I think the problem is that was an OEM ISO that I downloaded, and I think the key I had was, I believe the keys for that came with Anytime Upgrade were retail licenses, and I do know that Microsoft you cannot use a retail key with an OEM disk. Now there is a DISM command I know that you can run to convert from retail or OEM to retail and vice versa, but yeah, the Vista Orb, yeah, and I missed it because guess what? I'm still looking for the damn key. I have a bunch of Vista Business ISOs, but I cannot for the life of me find that Ultimate ISO. It was on an XPS laptop, and I can't freaking. Oh yeah, and I forgot about this too. I forgot that since I have an ADDC, yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah. So please tell me I'm typing in English. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, I forgot that I'm actually domain joined here because, yeah, as part of the WDS process, if you deploy a Pro version of Windows or Ultimate Edition that supports AD domain joining, it automatically joins the domain to my ADDC because I do have it set to do that. So as you can see, we are actually logging on in Hebrew, בעברית, using Active Direct. Oh, Jiminy Cricket. Okay. I really hope that video card isn't dying on me, or like the solder isn't coming loose, because that is not good. That's not good that I just saw those video glitches, so might need a driver update. But there you go, Windows Vista, בעברית. And yes, in Hebrew, like I said, because everything's reversed, don't tell me this has frickin' tap to click. It does, you son of a biscuit. Tap to click is my arch adversary. But we're not done yet. Because guess what, kids? We gotta put the Media Direct CD back in. Why, you may ask? Well, it's quite simple. זה פשוט. Because, the reason is because we now have Media Direct and we also have Vista installed, but we do not have. But if we try to boot Media Direct now, what is going to happen is we will screw up our Vista installation. Why is that, you may ask? Well, it's quite simple. Let me explain while we're doing this. Because, yeah, it's going to take a little know-how, let's just say. Now, the only thing is, I don't remember which folder I used. There is the Media Direct Utilities folder. Now, here's the only thing, though. I don't remember if this is a 64-bit. I don't think so, because I think, yeah, Media Direct was only 32, so Windows Media Direct. Here we go. I think it's this one. I think setup.exe is what we want here. So let me OL add-ins, setup.exe. You know what? Can we just run the autoplay? What is this auto run? Oh, well, you know. Problem is, I don't have the time to go through to read all the Hebrew, so you know what? Let's just try autoplay. Let me pop it back out, put it in. Normally I just click open autoplay, but I don't have time to go translating Hebrew here, and I just noticed the bezel wasn't snapped on, and my camera battery is close to death. Jeez Louise. All right, let me put the disk back in, and let me see what the auto run wants to do. md3recovery.exe. So bitul is cancel, efshal is allow. Okay, installer notice. Press enter to start the installation. Okay, yep, this is what I do. Yep, because I have no idea which one of those executables. I have not done this Media Direct stuff in forever. So, luckily though, even though we have a Hebrew copy of Windows Vista, an English disk, well, hopefully rather, will work just fine to install Media Direct on Windows. Now, Media Direct will be in English because I don't believe Dell ever made a Hebrew copy, but luckily we can still run Media Direct because obviously this will also fix the Windows bootloader because it knows we're running Vista. because obviously Windows XP used NT Loader to load the OS, and Vista uses Boot Manager. So Media Direct, especially 3.3, was designed for that transitional period between XP and Vista. And what this is doing is not only installing Dell Media Direct, but this is also, for a second I thought it said that it was one of those, you couldn't find the file. I'm like, you piece of garbage. But anyways, yeah, this is not only is this installing Media Direct, the standalone application, but as you can see, it is also unzipping files using WinZip self-extractor to the hard drive, and that's the reason I wanted to just use the auto installer, because obviously this will automatically determine our system and install the appropriate version of Media Direct that is compatible with this system. So yeah, and it'll write the appropriate boot files, because obviously if we write the wrong boot files, we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot. Okay, installation is complete. Please press the Enter key to quit, and then remove the Media Direct CD, which you can continue. Bloop, there we go. All right, so that is the final step in this process. So we can run the Media Direct application from within Windows. Of course, we still have some drivers to install, but we'll do that we'll get to that in just a little bit. But anyways, we now have Media Direct installed, and if we go to our Start menu and go to Kol HaTochniot, there's Media Direct at the top. And you can now use the Media Direct button to launch Media Direct, or if you want to be even cooler, first let me unmute the audio. Let's go ahead and shut the system down. Let's see, Kivui, which is shut down, or end session. So we'll say Kivui here. We'll shut the system down. And now we'll hit the Media Direct button, and this will boot the system off the Media Direct partition on the hard drive. So now it is very important, because as you can see by that loading bar down there, Media Direct is a Windows XP based OS. So obviously, for it to work correctly, if you try to boot Media Direct without running the setup in Windows as well, after you install Windows, you're going to have an unbootable system, especially if it's Windows Vista. If you install Windows Vista or Windows 7, even with Windows XP, you still need to do that so that the Media Direct CD can rebuild the boot manager accordingly, or NT Loader if you installed XP. That way, you have a fully functional Media Direct partition and a fully functional Windows partition. So obviously, Media Direct will be in English, but Windows will be in Hebrew, unless you launch Media Direct, that is. But there we go. Building your Dell Media Direct files. And there we go, kids. Dell Media Direct Express. We'll go over this a little bit later. But now if we exit, it will shut the system down. It'll initiate the shutdown command in Windows XP, because again, Media Direct is basically its own operating system, and as you can see, it even has the Windows XP logo there, and it acts as if it's hibernating in XP. But now if we reboot the computer normally, if we press the regular power button, we'll go ahead and do one final test before I gotta head out of here, and we'll make sure we can boot into Windows Vista as well. And there we go, there's Boot Manager. So as you can see, our Media Direct CD correctly updated the Boot Manager, so now we can boot into Media Direct, which is Windows XP based, and we can also boot into Windows Vista, which is Boot Manager based. So as you can see, the upgrades were successful. So, and this also works on Windows 7 too. Bring on that Vista glory. It brings a tear to my eyes seeing that every time. Anyways, alright. But that's all we can do for now. You know what? Actually, that's actually not all. Kiddos. Hopefully it's actually, yeah, no, it's typing in English. Yeah, see it down at the bottom, you can't really see, but down at the bottom it says EN, which is English, so it detects that I have an a US English keyboard. But if I did hook a Hebrew keyboard up to this, it would work too. Alright. I'm going to go see if I can dig up my Windows Vista OEM product key for Ultimate. I swear I have it somewhere. I can't for the life of me find it. So give me a sec. I want to see if an OEM key will work. Give me a sec, guys. And of course, I go through my phone, and guess what? I freaking deleted the picture of the COA that had the OEM key for Vista Ultimate. And I found out why this key was actually reported as invalid. I actually figured it out without even having to look it up. So, obviously, Microsoft used these yellow product key stickers back in the day to denote retail keys. But this installation media or image that I had on my WDS server is actually a Windows Vista OEM copy of Windows Vista Ultimate. So while a retail copy would accept both an OEM and a retail key, this being an OEM, you need to have an OEM key. It will not work, it will not accept a retail key. Even though that is a valid retail key, you cannot use it to activate. And I remember Microsoft used to make this very complicated back in the days, just because I haven't had to deal with this in so long. Yeah, long story short, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to have to buy a computer and or something that had Vista Ultimate, that has an OEM Windows Vista Ultimate sticker, and use that key to activate, because, yeah, I realize I could crack activate, but that was the old me, and, you know, software piracy is not cool, kids. And yes, I'm well aware that Microsoft doesn't care about Vista anymore, but you know what? I want to see if the trick still works in Windows Vista, where you can activate a different language, like a Hebrew copy with an English product key, because I do know it works in Windows 7. So, I want to find out whether it's because, I'm assuming it was probably the former. It's because I'm trying to use a retail key to activate an OEM copy, and that I know is not allowed. But I want to see if I obtain a legit OEM license for Windows Vista Ultimate. Hell, I might even go on frickin' Van's Keys, and yes, I know, or if it's still around, or G2A or something, and yes, I know, they're all stolen MSDN keys. I am well aware of that, but I seriously doubt that Microsoft is going to invalidate a Windows Vista license almost a decade after its end of life. So, you know what, this is where Van's Keys or some crappy product key site like that could actually come in handy. But, you know what, tune in for part 2, we'll get this show on the road. Okay, Microsoft, you win, you ungrateful bastard. There, I bought legit Windows Vista. You happy now, you sons of... Now you don't get to kill the dog. Jeez. So, yep, long story short, I ended up having to purchase, like, almost 2 decades after Windows Vista was released for RTM release, rather. Yeah, I ended up having to purchase a legitimate Windows Vista product key off of secondhand on eBay. Luckily, it's only 20 bucks for Ultimate these days. Architecture really doesn't matter. Point being, yeah, because even though in modern Windows, there is a DISM command, like, you know, for instance, you can use DISM to convert a Windows Server evaluation to a full version of Windows Server for use with a legit product key. Even though Windows Vista did introduce the DISM command, unfortunately the DISM Online switch is not available in Windows Vista. That would not be introduced until Windows 8. And yes, you can install PowerShell on Vista, but it does not. But the version that includes the DISM Online switch is not available for Windows Vista. So, yep. The woes of using unsupported software. But you know what? This video is going on long enough. So you know what? Check in for part 2 when I get the Vista Ultimate license. And I mean, we pretty much, but I would call this a win. I would say this is definitely a win. We were able to install Windows Vista using WDS. And we were able to successfully install Dell Media Direct. And the nice thing about this being generic Dell hardware is that I was able to get Windows picked up pretty much all the drivers out of the box. Like I got video, audio, and network right out of the box. That's the cool thing about Vista. And obviously this is a Service Pack 2 disc, but it actually, you could see that like Windows got most of the drivers. I think really the only thing, I didn't actually check Device Manager. I'm sorry, what am I saying? I checked Device Manager off camera, and really the only things, and this is to be expected, it just didn't get like the SD card reader and the stuff like that. But that's pretty easy. That I can usually get with Snappy Driver Installer, which you know, I'll put that for the next video. But yeah, no, everything else it got all the network, it got the major stuff, network, video, and audio. So really, this is a fully functional laptop, and also with a functional Media Direct partition. So we're calling this a win. Anyways, tune in for part 2, and I also have another laptop that I will upgrade for you guys as well. So, stay tuned. In the meantime, though, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. They help out a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys not too far in the future. Take care, everyone. Bye.
And it has this well-loved feature that's called activation. If you can't innovate, I guess you just imitate, but it's never quite as good as the original.